The Justice Department Inspector General Thursday opened an investigation into the department and FBI for its handling of information before the election. The probe includes whether FBI Director James Comey followed established policies in the investigation into Hillary Clinton's emails. Comey released a statement in response saying, quote, "I am grateful to the Department of Justice's IG for taking on this review. He is professional and independent, and the FBI will cooperate fully with him and his office." Gabe DeBenedetti is a national political reporter for Politico. He is in our Washington bureau. All right, so Gabe, there's a new investigation involving the FBI, Justice Department, as we just heard, but also a new administration coming in. How does Mr. Trump's team move forward and navigate this probe, you think?
Well, that's a great question, and it's one that I think the Inspector General in the Justice Department will be very interested to see. This is going to be an independent probe, and one thing that has certainly been clear is that FBI Director Comey has tried to be independent of whoever the president is that he is serving. Needless to say, the news of this investigation was welcomed by lots of Democrats. Some of them said, well, it's about time that someone looks into the actions of the FBI or the Justice Department during the campaign. Some allies of President-elect Trump not so thrilled about this. But can they actually step in front of it and try to hinder it? Probably not.
As you well know, there are questions about Russian hacking. Thursday, General Mattis and Congressman Mike Pompeo both had Senate confirmation hearings. Mattis called Russia the nation's, quote, #1 security threat, end quote. Pompeo said the report on hacking appears to be sound. And this would appear to be a divergence from Mr. Trump's posture on Russia. What do you make of that approach?
Yeah, there's no doubt at all that there is a pretty big divide between a lot of President-elect Trump's nominees for cabinet positions, important ones in the national security sphere, and what he's said in the past. But what's also true is that at his press conference just yesterday, which is after he was briefed by the intelligence community on the hacking, he was a little bit more definitive, a little bit more on the side of saying perhaps Russia did hack the DNC. What remains to be seen, however, is the way that senators use this obvious divergence between these nominees and the president-elect against them as these confirmation hearings go ahead. But what's also clear is that these nominees, many of whom have been vetted and talked to recently by the Trump team, have been given permission in some ways to go ahead and say this because otherwise it might be even more controversial.
Something else that took place, Dr. Ben Carson also had a confirmation hearing for HUD Secretary where he was grilled by Senator Elizabeth Warren. Let's take a listen to some of that.
Housing development is an area in which President-elect Trump and his family have significant business interests. Can you assure me that not a single taxpayer dollar that you give out will financially benefit the president-elect or his family?
I can assure you that the things that I do are driven by a sense of morals and values. And therefore, I will absolutely not play favorites for anyone.
Dr. Carson, let me stop right there. I'm actually trying to ask a more pointed question, and it's not about your good faith. That's not my concern. My concern is whether or not, among the billions of dollars that you will be responsible for handing out in grants and loans, can you just assure us that not $1 will go to benefit either the president-elect or his family?
It will not be my intention to do anything to benefit any American.
I understand that.
It's for all Americans,
but
everything that we do.
Do I take that to mean that you may manage programs that will significantly benefit the president-elect?
You can take it to mean that I will manage things in a way that benefits the American people. That is going to be the goal.
All right, Gabe, pretty pointed exchange there. Will questions about the businesses continue to pose problems, you think, for the Trump team?
There is no doubt that the business question is going to be the #1 issue, maybe #2, considering the Russian question. But one of the top issues that Democrats are going to push on, not just during the confirmation process, but over the next 4 years likely, and perhaps beyond that. Clearly, Donald Trump rose to power on the strength of his brand, and that's based on his businesses. But what's also clear is that Democrats and a lot of ethics professionals who are independent are really not happy with the arrangement that he's put together, where a lot of them are worried that he'll be able to use the office to further enrich himself or to support his businesses. What he has said is that in some cases his family will be involved, but that's not good enough for a lot of folks. And what you'll likely see is senators like Elizabeth Warren, who's been quite aggressive on this, really drilling down. Ben Carson himself has no say over Donald Trump's financial arrangements, but that's not going to stop them.
Finally, Gabe, Senate Republicans took their first steps toward repealing Obamacare with an overnight budget vote, but GOP lawmakers are not quite on the same page as President-elect Trump. Some are calling for repeal and delay. Mr. Trump says there will be an immediate replacement. So where does this go from here, you think?
There's clearly going to have to be some more meetings between the president-elect's staff and some of the leadership in the Senate and the House. What's pretty clear is that the politics of this are a little bit complicated. Obviously, the president-elect would like to repeal Obamacare as quickly as possible because they want to be able to, like many Republicans, point out that as an obvious political check mark. But as President Obama himself learned, when you take on health care, which is an extremely complicated issue, early on in your presidency, that can drag you down for a while. So what we're going to see likely is a lot of meetings, a lot of behind closed doors negotiations. This is not likely to move as quickly as a lot of Republicans would like to see.
All right. Gabe DeBenedetti. Gabe, thank you.
Thank you.